Interesting draft here. Not only did we have the NFL Combine, obviously these rookies are going to be moving up and down. One of our favorite picks in these drafts so far has been Anthony Richardson, and I'd imagine we're not going to be able to get him anywhere close to where we have been. But we also have Derek Carr going over to the New Orleans Saints. I'm not too excited to see exactly where Derek Carr ends up getting drafted in here per se, but this obviously is going to make an impact for someone like Chris Olave, maybe an Alvin Kamara. So this will be, in my mind, a much more different mock draft than what we've been seeing over the channel over the past month. So I'm very excited to get into this. And of course, this is on Underdog. You can find the link in the description. Find it in the comment section if you want to get in a draft with us. When you sign up for Underdog Fantasy and use promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. It's available in damn near every single state. And at the same time, you can get into a best ball draft today. But now we have the team officially on the clock at pick 1. Pick 7 in my mind, it's not great, not the worst pick in the world either. I mean, at 7, you're a little bit stuck in no man's land with where you may end up going. You're not going to get access to one of the truly elite level wide receivers. Usually Kelsey's going to be off the board. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey will be off the board as well. So it's an interesting thing to say the least. But Noah out here, happy to see my man Corey, Jaden, Guy, The Pound, Nick, Javon, Travis, NMB. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Nick says, just got to Mexico today for my celebratory trip from winning the puppy. Oh, have fun, my friend. Have fun. Don't spend, I believe you won $75,000 on Underdog last year. Don't spend it all on that Mexico trip. I'll try to save a little bit of it, but have fun nonetheless. JN out here, happy to see you, my friend. Hope all is going well. Okay, so Jefferson, Chase, CMC go off the board, first 3 picks. Not a surprise. This is what happens in the majority of these. Cup goes off the board at 4. I mean, it would have been a pipe dream to assume that we would have had Cup make it to us to pick 7 every once in a blue moon. It will happen 9 times out of 10. It's not. So Travis Kelce goes at 5. Usually you see Kelce go off the board at 4, and I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think I've drafted Travis Kelce a single time. Single time here. Okay, so let's move this over. What are we doing? GMY Phillip on the clock. Is he going Tyreek? If he doesn't go Tyreek, we are. He goes Eckler, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Tyreek Hill. Never mind. We are not stuck in no man's land. Feel very comfortable getting Tyreek Hill at pick 7. I'm going to operate under the assumption that in the majority of drafts here on Underdog, Tyreek should be off the board by pick 6 minimum. If you're going to my Underdog rankings, you're going to see that we actually have Tyreek Hill ranked, I believe, at 5. So getting him at 7 is something I'm very excited about. Bijan Robinson going at 9. If Bijan is a top 10 pick in drafts this year, I will sadly not be taking much of him. I want to. I truly do, but I don't think I can. Nick says, spend $1,400 for a 5-day all-inclusive, so I'm good there, my man. Happy for you, my friend. That's awesome. Now, going through, Jaden says, I'm doing good. Apparently, Bijan is the new Dynasty 102. Even in one quarterback, I'm not buying that. I still think you got to go Jefferson and Chase. If you're looking at my one quarterback dynasty rankings, I actually have Bijan Robinson at 3, but obviously that's dynasty and super flex is going to be much lower. Brandon says, where are you taking Josh Jacobs now? If we could get Jacobs at pick 31 in this draft, I'd be happy to pull the trigger there. I'd imagine it's most likely not going to happen. I'd imagine that we are most likely going to see Jacobs go at the 2-3 turn instead. Outloopy says, I can't take Bijan there until I know the situation. To be honest with you, I don't know how many situations I would take him there. You know what I mean? Like, what's the best case scenario for Bijan Robinson where, in my mind, he's someone going 7 picks before Jonathan Taylor? I don't know. I don't see myself doing that very often. Let's see where Greg decides to go. Went Stephon Diggs round 1. I'm imagining maybe you get a Josh Allen selection. Very interesting to go Mahomes instead of Josh Allen when you have Stephon Diggs. Going to make life very easy for us. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think the amount of teams that are actually going to be able to pull off a Tyreek and St. Brown pairing through the first 2, going to be very few given the fact that Tyreek Hill mainly goes pick 5, 6. Amon-Ra St. Brown usually goes at the beginning of the second. I'm very comfortable with this price point for him, especially on underdog in particular, where we should be able to find strong running back value later on. Okay. Now, Jaden says Anthony Richardson is the new 101, it seems, as a rookie. Anybody saying that does not know what they're talking about. If a team trades up to get Anthony Richardson a pick 1 overall in the NFL draft, I'll eat my words. But if someone's advocating to go Anthony Richardson, even in a Superflex draft, over Bijan Robinson, they are completely lost, and I feel bad for him. Please do not do that, my friend. Please. Now, Mason says Miami is literally the only best case scenario where Bijan should even be considered a first-round pick in fantasy. I'd definitely take him in the first round if he goes there to a team that has no running back on their depth chart. Keep in mind, Bijan can definitely catch the ball. I think there'll be a couple spots where I'd be willing to take him in the first. I just have a hard time taking him now ahead of Barkley, JT, Devontae Adams. AJ Brown's even going to be a little difficult. I have him ranked as that early to mid second round pick currently. I think I've only taken him once, and I think we got him at pick 17, 18 when we did. Okay. Unpopular Bear says Eagles, Cowboys, and Bills would all be first round landing spots. Yeah, I think there are a decent amount of spots that would be pushing him to the first, but take him there at 9 just seems a little aggressive on my end. Of course, I'm wrong all the time. Olave goes 26. Now, I am not a big Derek Carr fan. I think if I were to be a Saints fan, I'd probably be a little bit pissed at the amount of money that they gave Derek Carr. But this was almost best case scenario for Chris Olave this offseason with the quarterback that he'll have this next year. I mean, you're not in a spot where you can bring in some stud rookie at the same time. How many free agent quarterbacks are the Saints really in play for? I think that there was a very, very low probability that they were actually going to be able to pull off getting something like Aaron Rodgers. So good for Chris Olave. I don't think good for the Saints in particular. I don't see how they contend regardless. Nick says, new report came out. Rodgers is either going to be traded or retire. Let me go ahead. Let me pull this up. I did not see that, my friend. Let's pull up Aaron Rodgers. And, okay, did something happen with Kenneth Gainwell? I'm sorry, Kenneth Walker. I apologize. That's embarrassing. Getting pick 31 will be something I'm very happy about. I have Kenneth Walker ranked in the same tier as Derrick Henry, Breece Hall, Josh Jacobs. So, yeah, I'm very happy to get him there, pick 31. I feel like we've been crushing this draft. And by crushing this draft, taking the player at the very top of ADP and getting lucky that we've had a few key names falling to us. But regardless, I am very happy with where we stand. Yeah, the Packers are hoping that Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to return to Green Bay, who said it. He heard it over and over again in Indianapolis. They are ready to move on. Rumors, the Packers are hoping that Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to come back to Green Bay. Rich Eisen, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't see anything saying that Rodgers for sure wants to go elsewhere. They are hoping his decision is to retire or to be traded elsewhere. Yeah, so from what I'm reading, it sounds like it's a Packers decision than a Rodgers decision. Maybe it's like if you're in middle school and you break up with your girlfriend and you're halfway through it. She goes, no, I break up with you. And then tells everybody, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to get out ahead of it. Maybe they want to be the person to say they were able to break up with the other. But regardless of whatever it is, I guess it maybe makes sense why they wouldn't be there. Okay. Unpopular Bear says, bro, I've literally been wondering this since I started watching this channel in 2020, but what NFL team do you support, Mason? The Bucs, question mark. To be honest with you, the reason I got into watching the NFL and the reason I got into football in the first place was I started playing fantasy football back when I was like 10. And that was how I got into the NFL. So for that reason, I don't have a favorite NFL team. Last year, I lived in Tampa, so I tried rooting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I really couldn't get into it. I wish that I had a favorite NFL team. I feel like I'm probably missing some of the experience. I don't know. I don't root for any team in particular. Okay. Now, Fields goes a 40. Joe Burrow goes 39. So let's pull this back around. Okay. I think we have two guys that we're really looking at. Okay, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Lamar Jackson here. What we're going to pray for with this team in particular is Lamar Jackson ends up getting traded to the Miami Dolphins. I mean, I think that would be a smash pick. Now, if you're looking at where the elite quarterbacks are going this year in particular, I know I say this every single video, but I think it's so important from a strategy perspective this season. Mahomes was the top 3 most drafted player for me last year. We were getting him in round 5. There's no way in hell I will be drafting a quarterback in round 2 this year. Maybe if we get one of those top 3 guys falling to us at the 2-3 turn, at that point, I'll be taking one of them. But to take Jalen Hurts at pick 14 versus Lamar Jackson at 42, in my mind, I would much prefer having Lamar where we get him. I would much prefer having Lamar Jackson in the middle of the 4th compared to another elite level quarterback in the 2nd. Okay, now Sense says, I get to keep one. Who should I keep between Goddard, Wilson, or Brown? Leaning Wilson. Oh, yeah, if that's Garrett Wilson, you definitely keep Garrett Wilson, my friend. Not thinking about that at all. Unpopular Bear says, that is such a W. I respect that. Makes you a lot better at fantasy. I don't know. I know people say that, but in reality, I don't know if I had a favorite team, if it would make me any worse at fantasy. I really wish that I had a favorite team. But like I said, the main reason I got into football, really the only reason I got into football in the first place was because of fantasy football. So I feel like it's just completely like broken my mind, you know, like I feel like maybe I'm like the beginning of the new generation of sports fan. Bug says, what's the earliest pick you would take Travis Kelce? So I actually have my best ball rankings updated. I don't want to tell you exactly where yet. We'll be making some very exciting announcements later. But if I'm pulling up my best ball rankings, let's let these load. I currently have Travis Kelce ranked at 10. So where he was going last year, I was drafting him there last year, and I was very excited about it. But now that he's a year older and now he goes 3, 4, 5, yeah, I'm out on it. I'm not. I'm fine if I miss the boat. Okay. Now Swift, Judy, Godwin. Okay, so Herbert's falling. Very interesting to see this Herbert fall. Keenan Allen goes 53. So JSN had a great performance at the combine. Gibbs very fast, but at the same time very small. Kind of knew that was going to be the case. GMY Phillip has Eckler, Chubb, Najee, and then at wide receiver T. Higgins. Okay, what are we doing here? Please go Herbert. Please go Herbert. Goes Herbert. Okay, so we are going to go ahead. We're going to get George Kittle. An extremely balanced approach so far. I actually really like where our team stands. So Tyreek, St. Brown, first 2 rounds. Kenneth Walker, Lamar Jackson, George Kittle. Love it. I literally could not be happier with this approach. I think that we are going to have a running back probably making it to us a pick 66 that we're wanting to come away with. Usually wide receivers a little dried up by that point, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it's not. Yeah, Dameon Pierce off the board. Dameon Pierce is actually someone that I thought we were going to be fading a ton, but we've been getting him in round 6 a lot. So I've actually been drafting Dameon Pierce some. Sin says, what do you think happens with Lamar? When do you think he holds out, stays on tag, or gets traded? I have no freaking idea, my friend. I have no idea what happens with Lamar Jackson. I'm drafting him here saying all I know is we're drafting for the highest ceiling possible, and he's a quarterback that has a ton of rushing upside. It's going to put up a lot of points almost regardless where he's at. Now, Caesar says, Sup Mason, rate my Superflex Dynasty team. We have Watson, Lawrence, Lamb, Wilson, JSN, Addison, Boutte, Hyatt. No elite running back or tight ends, but we have 3 first-round picks next season. Okay, so obviously this is going to be a long-term approach. Garrett Wilson, incredibly young. Even CeeDee Lamb, very young. Lamb, like, younger than Kenny Pickett. Addison, Boutte, obviously crappy NFL combines. You're a little less excited about them previous to where you were, but you have 2 first-round startup picks with Watson, Lawrence. I would honestly say you have 3 first-round startup picks throwing in Lamb, a second-round startup pick with Garrett Wilson. I love the team. Obviously, you're not playing for this season. I think you want to continue to try to accumulate future first, try to accumulate as much value you can for 2024. But in Superflex, that's phenomenal. Okay, so now we have Lockett, 62, Evans, 63. What are we wanting to do? So Aaron Jones just restructured. So it looks like Aaron Jones should be in a spot where you're safe that he'll be in Green Bay. Like we just talked about earlier in the stream, though, you're not confident that you're going to have Rodgers there. So Greg is Mahomes, Dalvin, Diggs, Debo, and Pittman. Goes Aaron Jones. What are we wanting? Do we go Hollywood? I think we're going to go Hollywood Brown. I think we need a wide receiver 3 here. With Hollywood, this is later than where he was going a year ago. You're not going to have DeAndre Hopkins in this offense. Actually, pretty good season when he was healthy. Now, of course, the issue is Hollywood Brown has a very hard time staying healthy. Kyler Murray is going to miss a decent amount of the season this next year. This may be a horrendous offense, but he does have the speed to possibly give you some spike weeks. It's what we're kind of needing at this point with this build where we have so far 3 wide receivers, quarterback, tight end, and a running back. Okay. Now, Michael says, hot take, Carolina is a turnkey team for a vet to make the playoffs. The thing is, who are they going for? Now that Carr's no longer available, realistically speaking, what are you expecting there? Like, I don't think Rodgers is going to Carolina. I can't see that happening. But let me show off the draft board for anybody who's just now coming in. And if you're just now coming in, please make sure you remember to go down there and drop a like in the live stream. It does help us out a ton. So far, honestly, it's one of my favorite starts that we've had in any draft through the first 6 rounds. I feel like we have an incredibly balanced team. We were able to get value with Tyreek at 7, St. Brown at 18, Walker 31, all of those players behind ADP. So I feel like it's going to be more so a unique build compared to what you'd find elsewhere. Okay. 7 says Jacobs just got franchise tagged. I mean, that's honestly, in my mind, the assumption that was going to happen with most running backs here. At least if I were a team, like, I'd be very quick to use the franchise tag, especially if I'm the Giants with like Daniel Jones or something. Let's pull this up. Are they still expecting to give him an extension? Let's pull up Josh Jacobs. So 15 minutes ago, they officially placed the tag on him. And I don't see anything else beyond that. Boss Maniac says, what's good, Mason? How are we feeling about Sean Tucker? I mean, I actually really like the size that we had from Sean Tucker at the combine. Of course, we're going to have to wait to his pro day to see the 40-yard dash. I think we can assume that he's probably a good athlete, right? Is that a safe assumption that Sean Tucker is going to be incredibly fast? And I think he should be a player we're excited about. Okay, I know who we're wanting here. We're probably going to go a little bit off the board. Okay. So are they going to get auto-drafted Pacheco? Or are they setting up a queue? They go Deontay Johnson. Okay, so I actually have found myself drafting Jordan Addison in round 7 a decent amount. But to be honest, now with the NFL Combine, that looks like a horrendous decision. I'm not going to lie, this is not my highest ranked wide receiver in this range, but specifically because we have Lamar Jackson, I think we want to go through and I think we want to correlate him in case he stays in Baltimore with a player like Rashad Bateman. So even if Bateman's not my highest ranked wide receiver, he's in a similar tier to these other guys. And at the same time, since we took Lamar Jackson, I think it makes sense to go Bateman here. Jordan Addison goes pick 81. I feel like Addison's honestly probably going to be falling to go more so at the 8-9 turn. I can't see Addison consistently going in the 7th round based off of what we just got with his size speed combo. Okay. Watson goes 82. Pacheco makes it all the way down to 83. Lawrence goes 84. I mean, clearly we're fine with quarterbacks being drafted whenever we take Lamar Jackson at pick 42. I have in mind a few quarterbacks that we're going to be targeting later on in this draft. And this is going to be a 20-round underdog draft, so we are always comfortable going through and taking 3 QBs and 3 tight ends, if I'm going to be honest. even if we took both Lamar, Kittle around 4-5. James Cook, 86. Cook is one of my most drafted players so far this year. Whenever we're getting him in the 8th round, I'm just in love with that value. James Conner, another player that I'm drafting nonstop whenever we're getting him in the 8th round as well. There are 2 guys that I'd be fine taking here. Actually, 3 players that I'd be fine taking here. Let's see if we get any of them. Kadarius Toney, 88. Come on. Jahan Dotson goes. Dotson was actually the player that I had ranked highest in the 7th round. I would have been ecstatic to get Jahan Dotson at pick 90. I thought that there would have been no possibility. I would rather have Dotson over Bateman with the majority of teams. The only real reason we're going Bateman here, like I said, is because we have Lamar. But we're going to go Kamara at pick 90. Yes, Kamara, you have suspension concerns. Yes, Kamara, you have offense concerns. Yes, Kamara, he's not as good as he was in years past. But at the same time, we're getting him at pick 90. We're not having to take him in the 1st round, like historically speaking, you've had to. So I'm completely fine with this investment into Alvin Kamara. Okay. Now, Mitchell says James Cook is taking over that backfield. He's going to be a good pick. Not only is James Cook taking over that backfield, James Cook is the only running back on the roster right now for the Buffalo Bills. Now, of course, they probably bring in some depth, but I completely agree with you. I think James Cook in the 8th round is a phenomenal value. Like I said, I usually find myself drafting Jahan Dotson around 7 and then a running back in around 8, whether that's James Cook, James Conner, Alvin Kamara, or even sometimes we're going at taking Zach Charbonnet. We'll see if he makes it back to us, but probably not. Yeah, Zach Charbonnet goes pick 93. Like I said, we've been taking him here as well. It's primarily a running back range for us because usually you have Dotson going in the 7th, like I said. So if you remove Dotson and we're looking at like Alvin Kamara, James Cook, James Conner, Rachaad White, Zach Charbonnet, compared to the other wide receivers, not named Dotson, in Kadarius Toney or Courtland Sutton in this range, I definitely prefer running back. Jayan says, I got Derek Carr in the middle of the 12th last night. See where Derek Carr goes in this draft. Like I said, I'm not a big Derek Carr guy. I think he's probably pretty good for Chris Olave, at least compared to what Olave had last year. But I don't see myself drafting a lot of him, if I'm going to be honest. Kirk Cousins goes 97. Darnell Mooney, 98. Let's swing this around. Zay Flowers still available. Waller, Njoku, Cooks, Lance, Brian Robinson, Khalil Herbert. I feel like we just have such a balanced roster, we can almost do whatever we want. Lamar, Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara, Tyreek, St. Brown, Hollywood, Bateman, George Kittle. We can do whatever the hell we want. I have my eyes on 2 guys in particular. Brandon Cooks goes 101. This team does not have a tight end. Darren Waller is best available according to ADP. Waller with an ADP of 94. We're on pick 102. Now, I'm not a big Waller guy, but if this team doesn't have a tight end, I could see it making sense for him. They also only have 3 wide receivers. Maybe they go Hyatt. They go Khalil Herbert. We're going to go ahead. I think most people knew what we were doing. We have George Kittle, so we're going to go take Trey Lance. I don't need to think about this too much. I think Lance has an incredibly low ceiling. Not going to be surprised that Brock Purdy's the starter in San Francisco this next season. But if this is a $10 buy-in on Underdog with $1 million prize pool, $100,000 for first, I am personally going to be drafting for the highest ceiling possible. We have George Kittle, so we're already betting on the San Francisco 49ers offense. Trey Lance is all the rushing upside in the world, so I think it makes a lot of sense to just go through and pull the trigger and try to get that extremely high ceiling player, even if he has an incredibly low floor. Worst case scenario, we lose $10. Best case scenario, we win $100,000. Okay. Now, Njoku, Palmer, A.J. Dillon. At this point, what we are really hoping for once we take Trey Lance, pick 103, is we are really hoping that more quarterbacks go off the board. We have Lamar. We have Lance. We selected them both inside the top 9 rounds, so I think we're kind of done at quarterback. I mean, back in the day, we were able to get Anthony Richardson round 19, so maybe we could tag him on, but I expect Richardson to probably be going close to like round 13 now. Abel says, keep 1 for keepers, Hurts for a 4th, Olave for an 8th, Goddard in the 9th in a 10-team league. I'd say it depends on what you expect in terms of the player pool in each round. Keep in mind, every keeper league is going to be a little bit different, given the fact you're going to have to look at how many players your league mates are keeping, where they are keeping said players as well. 9 times out of 10, I find that it's just the best decision to keep the best guy in your keeper league. It would be different if you're having to keep him in the 1st, if you were having to keep him in the 2nd, but if you're going to be able to go through and keep, say, Jalen Hurts in the 4th round, it's probably the decision you want to be making. But of course, be flexible and make the adjustment for your league in particular. Okay. Duke says, how do you get the red shield on underdog? You draft way too many teams. Draft way too many. Jayan says, I feel personally attacked, Mason, because we did not grab Darren Waller. Well, maybe, my friend, we'll get him here for you. Maybe. No guarantees. Hopefully this team takes Daniel Jones. Like I said, once we go Trey Lance, we're really hoping that we see some more quarterbacks off the board. So far, we haven't. This team has Mahomes, so honestly, I'd be a little surprised if they were to go in that direction. Did anything happen with Darren Waller? I think this will be the first time I take him this offseason. His ADP is 94, but he's fallen to 114 at this point, so we're getting him 20 picks behind ADP. I'm going to search his name in Twitter just to see if anything's happened. I don't see anything other than Darren Waller getting married. Does that hurt his fantasy football production? I haven't looked into how marriage versus being single hurts your fantasy football production, but I'm going to operate under the assumption it doesn't play that much of a role. Of course, I'm an idiot. I don't know. So we'll go ahead. We'll take Darren Waller 114. Probably be done at tight end as well. Like I said, I think this is the first time we've drafted Darren Waller all offseason. But it's also the first time I've seen him fall 20 picks past his ADP. Okay, so hopefully we can find some strong values elsewhere because we will need it, ladies and gentlemen. We will need them. A to Z coming out of the donation. Thank you, my friend. Says, hey, Mason, hope all's well. Do you think in Superflex that Lance is still worth the 2023 first, like the 106 or after? If I had the 109, if I had the 110, if I had the 111, if I had the 112, I would trade it in a heartbeat for Trey Lance. Once we get to the 107, 108 range, I think it's almost going to be up to you. I would say if you have like a top 5 or 6 pick, I'm probably going to decide to keep the pick over Lance. Because at that point, you're able to go through, able to take like a Will Levis and just hit the reset clock. And obviously in Dynasty, it's not like you're having to just chase the highest ceiling possible like we do on Underdog in particular. So it's an interesting spot to be in. We probably take Lance over a late first, keep him at a mid first, sell him for an early first, if that makes sense. Dale says, Bijan's floor is Leonard Fournette's rookie season. Duke says, I don't know. I've seen at least 10 drafts with Tyreek and St. Brown. That's weird to me because, like I said, if we were looking at how the ADPs lined up, seems like it'd be difficult to get both of those guys. But, hell, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is much more common than we initially thought. So now we have a lot of quarterbacks going off the board. This is going to be perfect for us. Like I said, there's no way in hell we could have taken a quarterback in round 11. So that's the perfect scenario. Let's move this down. And we also want to see some tight ends go. When we have both Kittle and Darren Waller this early, it'd be difficult for us to continue to take tight end as well. We're primarily going to be looking at running back and wide receiver from here on out. Okay. Juju Smith-Schuster, 123. I'd have been happy to take Juju if you would have made it to us. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster, ADP 110. Elijah Moore going off the board here as well. So Wan'Dale Robinson, 125, a player that'd be extremely exciting if it wasn't for the injury. Okay, I think I know where we're going. This team has 5 running backs. They decided to take Jared Goff with their last pick, the pick before that, Khalil Herbert. They only have 3 wide receivers. They have an experienced draft badge as well. So I'd imagine that At some point, they're going to have to turn on the wide receiver button here. They go Montgomery. So I guess not. And I guess we are going to be rolling the dice, taking a running back before it's almost too late. If you're looking at what may be coming back around to us, we don't really know what those guys are going to look like. We're going to take Kareem Hunt. Hope that he falls in a good spot in free agency. I have no idea what to expect, but what I do know is Kareem Hunt at times has been a running back that's been a great pass catcher. At other times, he's been a running back that has been a workhorse elite level option in fantasy. Now, of course, the expectation is not to draft him in the 11th round and then all of a sudden have an elite running back in fantasy, but the expectation could possibly be, maybe he's a little undervalued here, just possibly. Now, Michael Thomas pick 128. See, is Derek Carr gone off the board yet? Looks like he hasn't. I mean, if you were looking at all the potential landing spots for Derek Carr, Saints aren't bad. Like, you have Chris Olave, and that's about it. And also at the same time, you don't really have much cap flexibility to do anything else. You don't have a first-round pick. I mean, at least you traded your first-round pick over to Philadelphia. I mean, I guess you have a later one, but Dawson Knox, Cole Kmet go here at the end. Perfect. Please get quarterbacks, tight ends off the board. Kate says Carr went early. Where did Derek Carr go? Carr go earlier than this. Derek Carr went 74? Oh, for the love of God, do not do this. For the love of God, do not take Derek Carr before Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott. Do not take him 20 picks before Tua. 25 picks before Russell Wilson. I would probably rather have Lance over Carr in this format, if I'm going to be honest with you. If Derek Carr is going in the 7th round, I will draft 0 Derek Carr this year. Literally 0. Won't be a player I'll touch. Oh my gosh. Well, that is interesting to say the least. Let's pull this back around. Like I said, everybody in this draft kind of knows we're not going QB tight end at this point. If they just look at our build, we're only going to be running back, wide receiver. Kayshon Boutte, very disappointing performance at the NFL Combine. Our 4 wide receivers are Tyreek, St. Brown, Hollywood Brown, and Rashad Bateman. So it's not like we're desperate for wide receiver. Alexander Madison goes, I'm honestly very comfortable taking Elijah Mitchell here. I would have been fine previously going through and taking Kayshon Boutte, but with the very disappointing NFL Combine, with him having a massive question mark on his profile to begin with, I feel like we need a discount. I don't think we can go ahead and draft him in the 12th. I really like Elijah Mitchell in that, he's going to occasionally see touches in San Francisco. Looks like they want to run a pseudo running back by committee, so occasionally Elijah Mitchell may find his way just falling in the end zone, but at the same time with Elijah Mitchell, if CMC were to go down, you have a player that could be elite in fantasy football. So it's like an elite handcuff back, while at the same time a running back that in best ball could occasionally be valuable if he just randomly scores a touchdown and you don't have to predict it. I think it's a nice player to take. Okay. Duke says, I live in Green Bay, was at the bar, and Rodgers literally said he was staying with the Packers. Okay. My friend, I do not believe you at all. Aaron Rodgers does not seem like the guy in my mind to go to the local bar and to chat it up with people in Green Bay. So the odds of that happening in the first place, slim to none. The odds that you are the guy that he talked to, even slimmer to none. I'm sorry if I'm being rude here, but I don't know. If you would have told me that you were in the dark room with him and you heard him mumbling under his breath, then I'd possibly believe that. But I don't think Rodgers is chilling at the local bar. Now, Bryce Young going pick 144. Thank God. Please, come on. Keep getting these QBs off the board. Okay. Stafford, Stroud, Pickett. Come on. Is nobody going to draft Anthony Richardson? Are we going to have to be the guy to take Richardson here? Don't make me do it. Take all the rushing quarterbacks. Stafford goes 45. That team has 4 QBs. Goes Stafford over Anthony Richardson. Bold. We're pretty much running back and wide receiver. And I honestly think Richardson will be off the board by the time that we're back up. We'll put him here just in case. But yeah, Anthony Richardson goes there, pick 148. That's what I assumed. It's one player that I actually really like grabbing in this range. Someone that I'm okay with as well. Let's see if we get our guy. Jaden says, hey, Mason, I have some oceanfront land in Kansas to sell you. Ooh. I may be interested in that, my friend. I don't know if I can buy it outright, but if you have a timeshare that I can be a part of, that'd be very exciting. Okay, so this team has 6 RBs. I don't know if they're auto-drafting. I mean, they took Lazard 139 in the last one, so I'm assuming that they're not. Tajay Spears, not too much info. Okay, I think I know what we're doing. I think I know. Goes Kenny Pickett. Great for us. We're going to go Gallup. I mean, with Michael Gallup, I think I made the mistake this past year. Just being too excited to draft someone coming off a torn ACL. I mean, hell, I've pretty much made that mistake every single season of my entire fantasy football career. I just act like, oh, torn ACL, going to be nothing. They'll be good to go next year. I'm always wrong, except the one year that Kupp came off the torn ACL and had a very strong start to the season. Didn't end strong, but still, we don't have to focus in on that. But now you're getting a significant discount. He has the guaranteed contract. And at the same time, he is another year removed from that torn ACL. Okay. Flago says, man-made oceans rule. No jellyfish or sharks. It's pretty funny, my friend. Sam says, by drafting Lamar, you're signing up for roughly 3,000 passing yards, 16 to 20 touchdowns, and 700 rushing yards. I'm signing up for a quarterback that can break fantasy football. Most likely he won't. But if 25% of the time Lamar Jackson goes out there and breaks fantasy football, I will be happy with this investment. I will be. Okay. Odell, Michael Mayer. Okay. Come on. Come on. Someone want to take Jordan Love here? You know you want Love. You know you want Higbee. And you know what you want to do is you want to go down there and hit that like button. We're 1 like away from hitting 100 likes in the live stream. We hit that like button. We will be at 100. Okay. Are we going to get... Okay. Yeah. I think we just continue to draft wide receivers. Hunter Renfrow was one of our must-avoid players last year. I thought he was one of the most overdrafted wide receivers you were going to find. But at this price point, I will be completely fine with it. Getting him at pick 162, kind of doubling down on this Las Vegas Raiders passing attack where we have Darren Waller as well. I actually really like this team. I think this is my favorite best ball team we've drafted all year. So at wide receiver, we have Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Hollywood Brown, Rashad Bateman, Michael Gallup, Hunter Renfrow. Running back, we have Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt, Elijah Mitchell. Quarterback, we have Lamar Jackson, Trey Lance. Tight end, we have Kittle, Darren Waller. In terms of our stacks, we have Lamar Jackson with Rashad Bateman. We have Trey Lance with George Kittle. We have Darren Waller with Hunter Renfrow. So I like this. I really like this team. Okay, let's move this down. Let me know what you are thinking here. I mean, usually halfway through, I'm like, okay, guys, please don't judge me too hard. We're just practicing for when we get closer to the season. But feel free to judge me hard on this one. I like this one. Okay, Tyquan Thornton, 165. Jordan Love, 166. Swing this back around. Will be interesting in that in this range, I would feel fine given just the lack of quality wide receiver and running back. If we really like a third tight end, if we really like a third quarterback, we can go ahead and pull the trigger just because this draft is a 20 rounder. If this draft was an 18 rounder, then of course, hell no, we're not going to do it, but it's a little bit different of a board here. Curtis Samuel 168. Okay. I think I know where we're going. We're probably going a little off the board, but it is what it is. This team only has 2 running backs. Their 2 running backs are Breece Hall, Miles Sanders. The same time, they've taken 4 QBs with Kirk Cousins, Kyler Murray, Bryce Young, Matthew Stafford. 1 tight end, a bunch of wide receivers. They go Gerald Everett. So they have 6 quarterbacks, tight ends combined, and 2 RBs. Seems a little aggressive, just a little. Tank Bigsby 171. That's not who we were going to be looking at. Someone in the chat said they thought A-Nash had it through the first 3 rounds. They had through the first 3, Allen, Travis Etienne, Travis Kelce. Just so hard on underdog to go with that 3 of a start, then find enough value at wide receiver later on. Like in a traditional fantasy football league, maybe, but this one's just so difficult. Okay. This team has 6 RBs. If they auto-draft Devin Singletary here, or if they take a running back to get their 7th, I feel like we'll have no other option but to just go through and select a running back, just guarantee that we are going to have enough to go around. Let's see what they do. Come on. Come on. They go MVS. Honestly, I kind of want to take our... Let's think this through. We are going to go Singletary. There are 2 running backs that I want. One of them has a shot to come back to us, where Singletary does not. There's a player that I may like marginally more than Devin Singletary, but if we take him before, we will have a 0% chance to get that guy and Devin Singletary on the same team. Whereas if we go Singletary in round 15, there's an outside chance we get both guys that we are wanting. So let's go Singletary here, and then we'll see what happens afterwards. No idea the situation Singletary will be in next season. Just looking for running backs that could potentially see some opportunity. Okay. ER7 says, how do you like your ribeye cooked? I like my ribeye medium rare like 99% of people on the planet, my friend. I do think it's always funny when someone goes, oh, you like medium rare? Fist bump. Fist bump. You like it bloody? Fist bump. I'm like, everybody likes it bloody. I don't know if I've met someone who likes it well done. I will say, I've come around, though. Burgers, I actually do like well done. Come around on that front. When I was little, I liked my burgers pink as well. But now I have been changing my mind on that one. Okay, Dalton Kincaid, 182. Khalil Shakir, 181. Fant goes 183. Really like the Fant selection. Fant is one of my most drafted tight ends here. So the running back that we want still available to us. Jarrett McKinnon goes 184. Let's see if we get our guy. Are we going to get him? Trey McBride goes. So, yeah, we're going to go Roshan Johnson with Jayan in the chat. Have to give him a shout out here. Good NFL combine. Had the size we were expecting, but also at the same time was a decent athlete. That's all you can really ask for running back that big. Did catch the ball at Texas. Obviously didn't have a shot to have a ridiculous college target share with Bijan Robinson on the same roster. Really like the selection in the middle of the 16th round. I may or may not have gone to University of Texas myself. I may or may not have been at UT the same time as Roshan Johnson. I've seen him play in person. So I probably very biased here, but I like it. I like it. 186. Garrett coming out of the donation says, yo, Flock, I'm Cash Morris 24 in the draft. What you think? Thank you so much for drafting with us, my friend. Let me go through and look at this. And yeah, looking at this two combo, Singletary, Roschon. Like I said, maybe I would have Roschon ahead of Singletary, but I thought if we went Singletary, there's a chance we'd get both. And let alone, we're geniuses, and we did. But let's go through and let's look at Cash Morris's. We have Barkley, Wilson, Amari through the first 3 rounds. Let's sit here and really think about this. Burrow, 39. I will say, in drafts going forward, if you think that you are going to be taking Joe Burrow at the 3-4 turn whenever he is available to you at that point, I personally would probably have Higgins over Garrett Wilson. In Dynasty Fantasy Football Leagues, give me Wilson, but in 2023 leagues, I probably go Higgins, especially if y'all like this point. I mean, Dameon Pierce, 58. I personally like the Dameon Pierce selection. Like I said, I've been drafting him in the 6th a ton. Mike Evans, 63. Watson, 82. I like the Watson Amari stack. James Conner, one of my most drafted players there. Njoku is interesting. I maybe would prefer going like Hyatt and then whatever tight end you like on the way back around at 111. Stroud for a third quarterback, I think is fine here. I think it's an okay team. I think really the only thing that I don't love is going to be that Garrett Wilson selection in the 2nd round whenever you think there's a possibility that you're going to go Burrow later. Okay. Now let's see this. Okay, so we have a run on running backs after we go Roschon at 186, which is great for us, to be honest, because once we take our 6th running back there, we're probably done drafting running backs unless we have some crazy value making it to us. I wonder if Penny has just anything going forward. I don't know. Okay, I know who we want. I don't know if we'll get him, but I know who we want. Isaiah McKenzie, 194. So Likely goes 195. I actually like drafting Isaiah Likely significantly more now than I did previously. Okay, so looking at this tweet, DeAndre Hopkins, who happens to be in Dallas right now, was on Instagram Live with Des Bryant and had this to say. I keep hearing y'all say my name around here. What's up? Talk to me. Dallas wants to add another weapon on offense, and DeAndre Hopkins is likely to be traded. The Cowboys would make a lot of sense as a partner for CeeDee Lamb. Ooh, how high would you be drafting Dak if you had both Hopkins and Lamb? Oh, that'd be beautiful. Be beautiful. Okay, let's see if we're going to get our guy. I think we are, because this team has 4 QBs. We're going to go ahead. We're going to queue up Will Levis here. I understand 9 times out of 10, you take 2 quarterbacks this early in Lamar Jackson, Trey Lance. You're not taking another one. And if it was an 18-round draft, there's no way in hell I would. But with this being 20 rounds, I feel like the opportunity cost to take a 3rd quarterback here isn't large at all. Like, I'm really passing up McCall Hardman to take Will Levis. I don't really care too much. So A-Rob goes 198. We will take Will Levis at 199. And at this point, we're probably going to go ahead and just take 3 wide receivers after. Just queue them up. But I think that should be almost about it with the stream. I don't want to be giving away my final 3 picks, just given the fact that I'm trying to create unique builds here. And if everybody starts taking the exact guys I'm taking in rounds 19, 20, it's going to be hard to stand out from the crowd. So if y'all haven't noticed, I've been trying to hide who we're taking in rounds 19 and 20. But let me show off this entire draft board so you get a feel of where we were. I love this team. Literally could not be more excited about it. If you enjoyed this live stream, please go down there, drop a like. We're at 125. Let's get this bad boy to 150. Thank you for everything. If you want to hop in our next draft or just hop in and draft in the public lobby right now, you can find the link to Underdog Fantasy in the live chat in the description or in the comment section. Promo code FLOG will get you a 100% deposit match. But thank you. I appreciate you and really do hope you have a great day.